George on line one. George, how have you been doing?
Good, good. Alexis, I have a question. In the Jason Kosmanoff not guilty plea and the gag order, is he asking for a jury trial? I'll hang up and listen.
Well, we need to talk about that. Let's get some background. Jason Kosmanoff is who? That is the Lake of the Four Seasons guy.
Well, he's the person that has turned himself in on the, involving the accident that occurred.
And you can't talk about that.
No, here's what it is, guys. I cannot talk about the Jason Kosmanoff case because there's a conflict.
There's a conflict. She cannot speak about this.
So the only thing I can say about the not guilty plea is that normally that's what happens. People come in and they get arraigned, or they have their initial hearing, and they either, with their attorney, go ahead and say that they're not guilty, and then they can go ahead and change their plea at any time and plead to the charge, or they can go to a jury trial. Everyone has the right to a jury trial. Obviously, in this case, so does this gentleman. And as far as the gag order goes, that is, nobody really knows why the gag order is imposed at this time, except maybe the parties themselves.
Can I comment on the gag order? I had conversations last night with Sheriff John Bunsich in a social situation, and then we were just talking, and I think I brought it up about the Brittany Mukes situation, and then he was usually we speak together, we just kind of know each other and talk together, and all of a sudden I realized, I go, you can't talk to me about this, right? He goes, yeah, I can't talk to you about this case. And then I realized, I go, wow, that really is a gag order, because, he just went silent on me, and he did the right thing. And then I realized, I go, all right, well, I won't poke around for any more information on this, but.
Well, and many times gag orders are in place, or because they want to ensure that if it does go to a jury trial, that the person will have an unbiased pool of jurors to select from, that that it's not going to be played out in the media, those kind of things. There could be other reasons why, but that's usually why there's a gag order.
Now, what we're talking about is the case of Jason Kosmanoff, which Alexis cannot comment on.
Well, I just choose not to comment on it right now, okay?
Yeah, there's a reason. Anyway, she won't be commenting on it, but I can. Jason Kosmanoff is a man out of the Lake of the Four Seasons, 42-year-old man, I do believe, and he evidently turned himself in the case of the death of Brittany Mukes and the injury of 3 other sheriff's corrections officers. If you just got back in town, then you don't know what we're talking about, but 99% of you do, and it's an incredibly sad situation. Brittany is dead at the age of 25, and 3 sheriff's officers were run down, and all 3 are pretty injured, and now there is another turn in this case. And I don't know if you can comment on this one, but I think it's not necessarily related to that. And your good friend Mark Kiesling in the Times brought this forth, and I know you love when I quote him.
Well, I always say, why do you bring Mark Kiesling up on my time? For usually I haven't read him.
He has, I'm not really a big fan. I think one time he kind of misled me in an interview.
Well, I don't read his column usually, and a lot of it has to do just with the fact that I'm busy, and also because it's just his opinion.
And you don't really like him.
Well, I don't really personally know him, but I just think he tends to be very arrogant, very self-righteous, and doesn't always, he just picks the side that he wants to pick and never asks the other side, and then he just rolls with it.
All right, here we go. Lake County Jail Warden Jeff Kumorek resigned late Wednesday following allegations of improper behavior. Now, this is the guy they brought in to run the jail. He immensely qualified.
What is his name?
Jeff Kumorek. Okay. Now, Bunsich brought him in and helped clean up the jail situation and so forth. Sheriff John Bunsich said Thursday, I asked for and received Kumorek's resignation. He is no longer connected with the Sheriff's Department. Sources within the department say he was forced to quit after he showed up at the scene of the fatal hit-and-run accident intoxicated. What's ironic here is that the wreck killed one of the correctional officers, Brittany Mukes, 25, and that the man being held in connection with the death has a record that includes a drunk driving charge. So there you go. Kumoric is a former Chicago police officer and Gary police chief, and he was placed on sick leave March 7th, one day after Mukes was killed. Now, there was a rumor that former Sheriff Roy Dominguez sent a letter to the U.S. Department of Justice asking to investigate the Kumoric incident. But Dominguez says this. He says, that's just something political. What good would that do? I don't plan on running for sheriff. I'm busy working on becoming a county commissioner. Buncich said he also heard that rumor and performed a preemptive strike by calling the Department of Justice. They said we were clear that we played everything by the book. I consider the matter closed. I want to move on. So I still find it strange, according to Kiesling, that if Kumoric did show up drunk at the scene and ran a county car over a curb, that no officers took a breath analysis or a blood sample. So
well, he's just, first of all, Kiesling just made a comment that we don't know to be true or not true.
Well,
whether or not Kumoric...
I still find it strange that if Kumoric did show up drunk at the scene and ran a county car over a curb, that no officers took a breath analysis or blood sample of Mr. Kumoric. I think that's the crux of his article here, and that's the crux of his charge here, is that is there a question of, if they knew he was drunk, why didn't they test him at the scene? And here's what Buncich had to say. He says, it was chaos out there. I was running between hospitals trying to locate chaplains, notifying the families. As far as I'm concerned, the matter is closed. And here's what Kiesling says. I'm not sure that this is the best policy. It sets a precedent for not testing high-ranking officials rather just driving them home. What does Buncich say? He says, we did take his car away that night. Buncich said, well, according to Kiesling, that tells you something right there, that there was a reason Buncich did not want Kumoric driving, especially in a county-owned car. Correctional officers at the county jail are not happy about Kumoric's performance, nor the way he was handled at the scene. Let's face it, someone inside the department said. If that had been you or me, we would have gone to jail. So another chapter, another sad chapter in this kind of long and winding case that resulted in the death of Brittany Mukes. It's horrible.
Yes, it is.